I had always been careful with my finances, paying my taxes on time, and never accumulating debt. But it seemed that my careful planning had been undone by a single, unexpected event. The lien on my property was a result of a long-forgotten lawsuit, one that I had thought was settled years ago. But it seemed that the plaintiff had been quietly working to reinstate the claim, and now I was facing a $50,000 bill. I felt like I was in a nightmare, with no escape in sight. But as I looked around the room, I saw the concern and support in the eyes of my loved ones, and I knew that I was not alone. Together, we would face this challenge, and I would fight to clear my name and protect my home. But little did I know, the sheriff's visit was only the beginning of a long and arduous journey, one that would test my strength, my courage, and my resolve. As the days passed, I became consumed by the lien on my property. I spent every waking moment researching, making phone calls, and trying to understand the situation. My husband and I had always been careful with our finances, but it seemed that we had been blindsided by a technicality. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The plaintiff's lawyer had been relentless in pursuing the claim, and I couldn't help but wonder if there was more to the story than met the eye. I decided to dig deeper, to try and uncover the truth behind the lawsuit. I spent hours poring over documents, searching for any clue that might lead me to the truth. My eyes blurred as I scanned page after page of legalese, but I refused to give up. I was determined to clear my name and protect my home. As I delved deeper into the case, I began to notice a pattern. The plaintiff's lawyer seemed to be hiding something, and I couldn't shake the feeling that they were trying to intimidate me into paying the claim. But I refused to back down. I decided to take a stand, to fight for my rights in my home. I hired a lawyer, a feisty woman who was determined to take on the plaintiff's lawyer and win. Together, we pored over the documents, searching for any weakness in the plaintiff's case. As the days turned into weeks, the tension mounted. The plaintiff's lawyer became increasingly aggressive, trying to bully me into paying the claim. But I refused to give in. I was determined to see this through, to clear my name and protect my home. The stress was taking a toll on my health, but I refused to give up. I was determined to fight for my rights, no matter what it took. My husband was worried, but I reassured him that I would be okay. I had to be. As the weeks turned into months, the case began to heat up. The plaintiff's lawyer was getting desperate, and I could sense the fear in their voice. They were starting to realize that I wasn't going to back down, that I was going to fight to the end. I received a call from the plaintiff's lawyer, a threatening message that left me shaking. They were trying to intimidate me, to scare me into paying the claim. But I refused to back down. I was determined to see this through, no matter what it took. I hung up the phone, my heart racing with anxiety. But as I looked around my home, I knew that I couldn't give up. This was my sanctuary, my haven. I had to protect it, no matter what. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the fight ahead. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was determined to see it through. I was going to fight for my home, for my rights, and for my dignity. As I sat in my living room, surrounded by the memories of a lifetime, I knew that I was in for the fight of my life. But I was ready. I was ready to take on the plaintiff's lawyer, to fight for my rights, and to protect my home. The phone rang again, shrill and insistent. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should answer it. But something inside me clicked, and I knew that I had to take the call. I had to face whatever was coming next, head on. I picked up the phone, my heart racing with anticipation. Who was on the other end, and what did they want? I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the unknown. And then, I spoke. "Hello?" I said, my voice firm but cautious. "Mrs. Johnson, it's the plaintiff's lawyer," the voice on the other end said, his tone dripping with condescension. "I see you're still refusing to pay the claim." I felt a surge of anger, but I kept my cool. "I'm not refusing to pay the claim," I said. "I'm just refusing to pay it without a fight. I believe this lien is unjust and I'm going to do everything in my power to prove it." The lawyer chuckled, a cold, mirthless sound. "You're a feisty one, I'll give you that," he said. "But you're not going to win this fight. You're just going to end up wasting your time and money." I felt a spark of determination ignite within me. "I'm not afraid of you," I said. "I'm not afraid of your threats or your intimidation tactics. I'm going to keep fighting, no matter what." The lawyer's tone turned icy. "Fine," he said. "If that's the way you want to play it, then let's play it that way. I'll see you in court." I felt a shiver run down my spine as he hung up the phone. I knew that I was in for a fight, but I was ready. I was ready to take on the plaintiff's lawyer and prove that the lien was unjust. I spent the rest of the day preparing for the court case, poring over documents and researching the law. I was determined to be prepared, to be one step ahead of the plaintiff's lawyer at every turn. As the day drew to a close, I felt a sense of exhaustion wash over me. I had been working non-stop for hours, and I was starting to feel the strain. But I couldn't afford to rest yet. I had to keep pushing forward, no matter what. I took a deep breath and stood up, stretching my tired muscles. I knew that I had a long road ahead of me, but I was ready. I was ready to fight for my home, for my rights, and for my dignity. As I walked into the kitchen to make myself a cup of tea, I noticed a piece of paper on the counter. It was a letter, addressed to me, from the plaintiff's lawyer. I felt a surge of anger as I read the words, my heart racing with indignation. "You're not going to win this fight," the letter said. "You're just going to end up losing everything. Give up now, before it's too late." I crumpled the letter in my hand, feeling a wave of determination wash over me. I was not going to give up. I was going to keep fighting, no matter what. I took a deep breath and let it out slowly, feeling a sense of calm wash over me. I was ready for whatever came next. I was ready to face the plaintiff's lawyer in court and prove that the lien was unjust. As I stood there, sipping my tea and staring out the window, I felt a sense of resolve wash over me. I was not going to back down. I was not going to give up. I was going to fight for my home, for my rights, and for my dignity. And then, just as I was starting to feel a sense of calm, I heard a knock at the door. I felt a surge of anxiety as I wondered who it could be. Was it the plaintiff's lawyer, come to intimidate me in person? I took a deep breath and walked to the door, my heart racing with anticipation. Who was on the other side, and what did they want? I opened the door to find a woman standing on my porch, a look of determination etched on her face. "Can I help you?" I asked, feeling a sense of wariness. "My name is Sarah," she said. "I used to work for the plaintiff's lawyer. I've been following your case, and I have to say, I'm impressed. You're not afraid to stand up for yourself, even when the odds are against you." I felt a sense of surprise, but Sarah continued before I could respond. "I have information that could help you win your case," she said. "Information that could prove the lien is unjust and that the plaintiff's lawyer has been acting in bad faith." I felt a surge of hope, mixed with a healthy dose of skepticism. "What kind of information?" I asked. Sarah hesitated, looking around nervously before responding. "I have documents that show the plaintiff's lawyer has been embezzling funds from his clients. He's been using the money to fund his own lavish lifestyle, and he's been covering his tracks by filing frivolous lawsuits like yours." I felt a wave of outrage wash over me, mixed with a sense of vindication. I had suspected that something was off, but I had no idea it was this bad. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked, feeling a sense of gratitude towards Sarah. "I'm telling you this because I'm tired of being a part of something that's so clearly wrong," Sarah said. "I'm tired of being a part of a system that exploits and hurts innocent people. I want to make it right, and I think you're the only one who can help me do that." I felt a sense of tears welling up in my eyes as I looked at Sarah. She was taking a huge risk by coming forward, and I knew that I had to protect her. "Thank you," I said, my voice shaking with emotion. "Thank you for trusting me with this information." Sarah smiled, a look of relief washing over her face. "I knew I could trust you," she said. "You're not like the others. You're not afraid to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard." I felt a sense of pride and purpose wash over me as I looked at Sarah. I knew that I had to use this information to take down the plaintiff's lawyer, to make him pay for what he had done. I spent the next few days preparing for court, using the information Sarah had provided to build a strong case against the plaintiff's lawyer. I was nervous but determined as I stood before the judge, ready to present my case. The plaintiff's lawyer was smug and confident, but I could see the fear in his eyes. He knew that I had something, and he knew that I was going to use it against him. I presented my case, using the documents Sarah had provided to prove the plaintiff's lawyer's guilt. The judge listened intently, his face growing more and more stern as the evidence mounted against the plaintiff's lawyer. Finally, the judge had heard enough. "I find the plaintiff's lawyer guilty of embezzlement and filing frivolous lawsuits," he said. "I hereby order him to pay restitution to all of his clients, including Mrs. Johnson. I also order him to surrender his law license, effective immediately." I felt a wave of relief and vindication wash over me as I looked at the plaintiff's lawyer. He was defeated, and I had won. But as I turned to leave the courtroom, I saw Sarah standing in the back of the room, a smile on her face. I walked over to her, feeling a sense of gratitude and admiration. "Thank you," I said, hugging her tightly. "Thank you for trusting me with this information. You're a true hero." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining with tears. "You're the hero," she said. "You're the one who stood up for what's right, even when it was hard. I'm just glad I could help." I felt a sense of closure and satisfaction as I left the courtroom, knowing that justice had been served. The plaintiff's lawyer was going to pay for what he had done, and I was finally going to be able to put this ordeal behind me. As I walked out into the bright sunlight, I felt a sense of peace and contentment wash over me. I knew that I had done the right thing, and that I had fought for what was rightfully mine.